世界
Rebirth of the Malicious Empress of Military Lineage, Chapter 123, Returning to the Capital. The journey from the Zhaochun city to the Ding capital was as high as the mountains and as long as the rivers, thus one would need to trek thousands of miles and would take half a year back and forth. When Shinzin received the imperial edict, he embarked on the journey the next day. Lu Ling and Lu Tan also journeyed together. Lu Sui let Lu Ling go along as he was the eldest grandson of the Lu family, and in the future Lu Lin had to hold up the entire Lu family. Lu Sui's intention was to let Lu Ling go to the Ding capital to learn through experience, and also to gain an understanding of the current situation in Mingqi. Lu Si was to stay in the Zhaochun city to continue to drill the Lu family's army with the elders. Lu Tan and Lu Qian were not supposed to follow, but who knew that Lu Tan herself secretly climbed up into the carriage and hid in the box at the back of the carriage, and she only appeared halfway during the journey. At that time, it was too late to chase her away, and one could only send a message back and bring her along to the Ding capital. Lu Tan was filled with longing for the capital, and promised repeatedly not to cause trouble before finally going on the journey with Shen Miao and entourage. Other than the front section of the Shen family's army that was brought over, this time Shinzin also brought a portion of the Lu family's army. These people were trained personally by Shenzin and Shen Kaiyu and were the most elite of them all. If one were to place any one of them on any sections, they would be considered a section lead. The number of branches need not require to be plentiful. Shinzin had cultivated them himself, so he brought them along with him under the name of bodyguards. From the start of the journey in spring to late autumn, all the green trees along the way had changed into withered leaves that swayed and all onto the dirt with the wind. When the entourage started to increase their clothing, they then were about to reach the capital. The sky was gradually getting darker and the entourage went to the inn outside the city to rest. Shen Kaiyu said, "Tomorrow morning we will enter the city. The first thing is to find a residence to stay." At that time when they were leaving, they had separated from that Shen family, so naturally, it was not possible for them to return to Shen residence. Previously in the Lu residence, Lu Zuyan had told Lu Sui about the matter of separating from the family, and Lu Ling and Lu Tan were not surprised. Lu Tan rested her chin on her hand. "Gugu and Gufu, let us find a bustling place to stay, all right? I have never been to the Ding capital before. How great it would be to have a residence that will be bustling when one leave the house." Lu Zuyan laughed. "Originally, the east of the city was the busiest place, but we had not returned for 2 years, and do not know if there is any change." "That is simple." Lu Tan asked the waiter who was serving, "Waiter, do you know where is the most lively place in the Ding capital?" That waiter did not know their status and identity, and only saw that they had so many people and wore fine clothes, especially the young lady that was sitting in the middle. She was young but had a remarkable bearing. With one look, one knew that she was a young lady of one of the noble residences. He immediately dared not neglect them and enthusiastically replied, "Young lady, there are a lot of lively places in the Ding capital." Lu Tan was obviously not satisfied with the answer and wrinkled her nose. Just like that, the waiter feared of provoking her unhappiness and thought for a moment before replying, "If young lady really want bustling, then it will be good to go to the southern part of the city." Recently, the Ken countries and the Great Liang's people have arrived, and the emperor had set aside residences in the southern part of the city, Yanqing Lane, to stay. "What is this Yanqing Lane?" Lu Tan asked. "Yanqing Lane is the most expensive piece of land in the capital." Shen Kaiyu explained, "It is an excellent place that even the relatives of the imperial family cannot stay. Even if those princes move out of the palace to set up their residences, would not be able to stay there. Only the First Nation's granduncle stayed at the Yanqing Lane for a period of time." Lu Tan was first surprised that Yanqing Lane is actually so expensive. Then she was somewhat disappointed. "But if it is so expensive, then we will not be able to afford to buy a residence there." When the waiter heard this, he was first surprised before looking carefully at Lu Tan. Not mentioning about buying a residence in the Yanqing Lane, even residing there for a few days was considered as rare as an unicorn's horn or phoenix feathers. Seeing Lu Tan's manner of speaking, The waiter almost suspected that he had misjudged them, as Thee's entourage was full of only country bumpkins that would be entering the capital for the first time. "It is all right," Shin Miao said. "Next to the Yanqing Lane there is a street that is adjacent to restaurants, and outside the lane the price is not that expensive and one can always afford it. Since it is not far from the Yanqing Lane, it is not a bad alternative." When those words were spoken, the waiter was surprised for a moment before subconsciously saying, "This lady spoke correctly, it is indeed so." "Zhao Zhao also want to watch the bustle?" Shin Xin asked. Naturally Shen Miao was not one who liked to get in on the action, but with her words today, it seemed that she had some interest. "Felt that it is somewhat refreshing." Shin Miao smiled. Good, good." Lu Tan's eyes shimmered as she looked at Shen Miao. "Be our youngest sister, you are the best." She thought that Shen Miao deliberately said it for her, and was very grateful of Shen Miao in her heart. Shen Miao looked up and towards the waiter. "The people from the King country and the Great Liang have come?" Since the beginning, the waiter's eyes did not left off from this young lady who looked like the youngest. He had felt that when she sat there, even the chairs became golden bright and dazzling. Hearing Shen Miao speak, he immediately replied respectfully, "Yes, the Ming Cheese tribute will start in a few days' time." The Ken country and the Great Liang had sent over people to give their congratulations. These people are arranged to reside in the Yanqing Lane. "Who did the Ken country and the Great Liang send over?" Shin Miao asked. The waiter scratched his head. "His Highness the Crown Prince and Princess Ming, and from the Ken country and from the Great Liang, the younger blood brother of Emperor Yongle, His Highness Prince Ru." Shen Miao's eyes hang down. "Many thanks." After that waiter left, Lu Ling asked, "Does Biao younger sister have any thoughts on the people from the Ken country and the Great Liang?" Shin Miao smiled. "Nothing, just felt a little strange." Lu Tan beamed. "No matter what, we will reach the Ding capital tomorrow and can also take a look at the hustle and bustle." In the palace in the Ding capital, in the chambers of the emperor, the thick medicine smell filled the entire sleeping chambers, and the incense in the burner made one's heart heavy and melancholic. On the dragon bed chambers, Emperor Wenhua laid on the couch with both eyes half closed. The beauty clad in noble clothes beside was gently moving, scooping spoonful of medicine into his mouth. This was not anyone else but consort Dong Shu. She fed very patiently and carefully. Emperor Wenhua could only drink a tiny spoonful at a time, so she blew on each tiny spoonful till it cooled down and tested that it was not hot, then slowly fed it to Emperor Wenhua. As she fed, she still gently patted Emperor Wenhua's back so that he could breathe smoother. After finishing feeding, consort Dong Shu picked a candied fruit from the enamel bowl at the side, and fed it to Emperor Wenhua's mouth. Emperor Wenhua frowned, and after swallowing the last bit of the bitter taste in his mouth he then said, "It is difficult for you to even remember this. Your Majesty is not afraid of bitterness. It is this consort that fear that your Majesty is afraid of bitterness." Consort Dong Shu smiled warmly. "May your Majesty take account of this consort and eat a little of this fruit." Emperor Wenhua was amused by her and his eyes softened a little. "In this palace, it is still you that understand Zin's mind." In the 2 years, many things had changed. No matter how much energy of a dragon and ferociousness of a tiger he had, he finally could not beat the erosiveness of time. Not to mention that he had so many sons who were younger, stronger and more ambitious than him. With the critical circumstances both inside and outside, he had aged a lot and his body gradually became sickly. The crown prince's condition was also precarious, and his faction was gradually no match as Prince Zhu and Prince Jing moved threatening towards, while Prince Xuan and Prince Li eyed covetously like tigers watching their prey. Emperor Wenhu even felt disgusted seeing the females in the inner palace, and at this time, consort Dong Shu and Prince Ting, Fu Ziyu Yi, who stood aloof from worldly affairs, entered his eyes. Emperors most felt assured with were sons and women without ambitions. When Emperor Wenhua was sick, he loved to summon consort Dong Shu to attend to him. Even with such imperial favor, consort Dong Shu was still as cautious as usual, and would not take the initiative to speak about Prince Ting's matters. Thus Emperor Wenhua was even more satisfied. He would even occasionally talk to consort Dong Shu about adverse court matters. The tribute is about to begin. Emperor Wenhua signed. The messenger said that Shin Zin will return to the capital within these few days. Zen drove him out 2 years ago, and fear that there is still a grudge in his heart. If the circumstances were not urgent, Zen would never lead the wolf into the house. Your Majesty. Consort Dong Shu smiled. General Shen is your subject and naturally will work for you and do what you want him to do. Why is your Majesty tormenting yourself? Subject? Emperor Wenhua sneered. That subject's prestige is bigger than Zen's, so how can Zen believe Shin Zin wants to be a subject? At the beginning Zi Ding was also likewise, but he lost his son and now the Zi family is unable to withstand a single blow, and Zin is also lazy to eradicate to the last one. This Shen family, after the tribute, it is better. Zen really feel uneasy. Consort Dong Shu no longer spoke. At such a time if she were to speak, then there was the possibility of the inner palace interfering with the government. Thus she lowered her head, kept quiet and just fiddled with the enamel bowl. In Consort Dong Shu's Shufang Palace, there was also someone standing at the moment. That person's robes and crown were noble and had a grave and magnificent appearance. It was Fu Ziyu. As compared to 2 years before, he became more composed and matured and had an indescribable grace. Shenzhen is resting outside the city today, and will be entering the capital early in the morning. The guard in front of him bowed down to speak to him softly. Fu Ziyu clenched the cup in his hands and one did not know what he was thinking. After a moment, he suddenly smiled. Gentlemen Pei really have the miracle of foresight, for what he said was actually correct. Entering the capital tomorrow, he said, pass the order down. All the guards at the city gates must listen. When Shin Zin returned to the capital, the entire city must welcome him. The guard cupped his hands and complied before quickly retreating. Fu Ziyu stood with his hands behind him and a profound expression appeared on his face. 2 years ago the Shen family's tactic of taking drastic measures had disrupted all of his plans. Now to return to Ding capital again, Fu Ziyu had the feeling that this was also part of the Shen family's plans. Perhaps Shen Zin knew that there would be a day that he would return to the capital, thus at that time, he left so resolutely and unrestrainedly. In that case, how about putting the Shen family back into the hot fire to roast again? How about letting the Shen family be a target and letting Emperor Wenhua, Prince Zhu's faction, Prince Li's faction and even the Qin country and the Great Liang all watch closely Shen Zin, this piece of fat meat? He was after all a person who held a grudge extremely well, and hated to be played in anyone's palm. To dare to scheme against him, Fu Ziyu, the Shen family would inevitably have to pay the price. Early on the second day, Shin Zin and entourage set off again. Hastening on with their journey from the inn, they could only arrive at the Ding capital before noon. Because they still had to look for a residence, it was ideal to be as early as possible. When they arrived at the city gates of the Ding capital, the guards at the city gates asked to see Shen Zin identifying placard and suddenly were on awe, so it is General Shen. Finishing, they let the rest quickly open the city gates for Shen Zin and entourage to enter. Lu Tan said, Gu Fu, they seem to be respecting you a lot. It seemed that Gu Fu's official rank is very big. But Shen Kaiyu and Shen Miao frowned at the same time. On the day they left the Ding capital, the indifferent facial expressions that those guards had, were like those who wanted to throw stones when one was done. Now to be that enthusiastic, it is certainly not because of needing him to come back to deter the Qin country people. It was most likely instructed by someone else. Lu Tan parted the carriage curtain and looked out before exclaiming, this is the Ding capital. So big and so lively. There are a lot more people than in the Zhaochun city. Ah, be a youngest sister, the young ladies here look very pretty. How could one look that fresh? Heavens! Even the gentlemen here are all fair and tender. Her noise was heard by those close by and they looked over. It did not matter if they did not look, but once they looked they shouted out, it is General Shen. General Shen has returned. General Shen had returned. Shin Zin originally had a prominent reputation in the Mingqi's commoners' hearts, and since in these 2 years, the Zi family fell into misfortune and the Shen family moved away. This made the people feel that the hero's end was desolate. Even more when the Qin countries and the Great Liang's people came to the Ding capital, there was suddenly a sense of humbleness as they could not protect themselves. For Shenzhen to emerge at such a time, it undoubtedly allowed the commoners to feel as if they have a pillar of support. When more and more people surrounded them, they all shouted amazingly, "General Shen has returned." For a period of time the cheers of the crowd almost drowned the road in front of the horse carriage, as the commoners shouted fanatically and almost sought after them. Lu Tan covered her mouth. Heavens! Gu Fu's reputation in these people's eyes and mind is indeed very high. Lu Ling and the rest who were outside had unbearable expressions. It was a good thing that there were people to give a warm welcome, and it was not bad to be sought after. Every year when Shenzhen returned to the capital, there would always be such a sight. But today, Shenzhen did not return with merits, but instead was recalled back to the capital by the emperor after being evicted for 2 years ago. The louder the commoners' cheers were, the more resounding the slap was on Emperor Wenhu. This was the same as going against Emperor Wenhu in the carriage. Lu Zuyan's and Shen Miao's expression also slightly became solemn. It was especially so for Shen Miao as her gaze suddenly got colder. Only Lu Tan did not understand what was going on, and was delighted with Shenzhen's prestige. The road was blocked and Shenzhen could only let the few guards beside him to explain to the commoners. When the people heard it, even though they stood at both sides of the road to look, they were not as excited as they were previously and opened up the way. Mo King and Dak Hai rode their horses off to look for residences. Just like what Shen Miao said, there was a street next to the Yanqing Lane and the residences there were not bad. Now that Shenzhen had spent a lot of money on reorganizing the Lu family's army, he was not as well off as he was previously. In spite of this, since Shen Miao wanted to reside in the southern part of the city, Shenzhen agreed to it without saying anything further. The horse carriage headed towards the south of the city. The closer one gets to the Yanqing Lane, the less the people were there. This was because those living around the Yanqing Lane were dignitaries and nobility, and commoners would not be able to afford to stay in that section of land. The welcoming commoners were much scarce here, and the carriage was able to travel much smoother. Mo King and the rest quickly reported that they had found a residence that one could first reside in, before discussing about money. The original owners of that residence knew of Shenzhen's name and did not request much money for collateral. When they were only one street away from the Yanqing Lane, suddenly there was a gust of wind that blew the curtain of Shen Miao's carriage, quickly blew apart the curtain, but it also quickly fell down. Shen Miao's eyes slightly congealed. Lu Tan saw this and asked, "What is the matter?" Shen Miao took a glance at the carriage curtain and shook her head. Nothing. But she was secretly vigilant, as just now for a short moment, she actually had the feeling of being monitored. That kind of attention made one felt very uncomfortable. In one of the tall buildings at a distance, there was a young man holding a flute with a female by his side. That female's appearance was as delicate as a flower and refined as jade. Those tacky jewelry that she wore did not look ugly at all, but instead made her look exquisitely charming. She glanced at the faraway carriage and said in disdain, "Is not this the formidable great General Shen? The Shen family, such a great prestige, but is only no more than this." The male by her side was in his early 20s and had some resemblance to her. He was considered handsome, but because his nose was slightly hooked, it gave him a vicious look. He smiled, to even make the imperial family of Ming-Chi to restrain their fear. "It is not a simple trash. Older brother Crown Prince is joking again." That female's eyes were filled with arrogance. The Marquis of Linen, from the Zi family, was also lawless previously, but now is still like a bereaved dog. They could not even retain the complete corpse of Zi Jingxing. More likely than not, the Shen family would be the second Zi family. The male smiled, but did not continue along with that female's words. At the other side, there was someone leaning against the building as the lush evergreen covered his figure in half. only revealing the flowing corner of his gold robes. One of his hands picked the teacup in front, and that hand was vigorous. There was a white jade ring in the middle finger, which made the entire hand seem to be carved out from jade. As the teacup neared his lips, it revealed a beautiful chin. The reddish thin lips that had been touched by the tea seemed a bit moist but were enough seductive to hook another's mind. The corner of his lips slowly hooked up. The residence that Mo King found was an alley a turn away from the Yan King Lane, where the busiest restaurants of the southern city were located. The location was very good. The owners were easygoing, and Lu Zuyan and Shen Xin were very frank people, so when the owners put up a reasonable price, they bought the residence that very night and changed the owner of the residence. At this end it was just settled, but there were eunuchs from the palace that came over to read out the imperial edict, which was for Shen Xin to enter the palace the next day to meet the emperor. For Emperor Wenhua to be the tiger, apparently thing had reached a very critical position. After receiving the imperial edict and moving things in, the skies turned dark. After dinner, everyone could go and rest after finally settling everything down. Shen Miao and Lu Tan resided in adjacent courtyards. The courtyards here were not as spacious as the general residence, but it was considered neat, clean and had a unique style. It is just that Shen Xin and Shen Kaiyu had some regrets, as they could not drain in the courtyard. Lu Zuyan and Lu Tan were very satisfied, and Shen Miao did not value such things, so naturally she had no objections. At the end during the night, Lu Tan sneaked into Shen Miao's room to talk. Lu Tan was wrapped in a cape as she sat on Shen Miao's couch. "Be our youngest sister, I cannot sleep. Accompany me and chat." "What do you want to chat about?" Shen Miao let Jings and the rest withdraw, and cut the wick of the oil lamp shorter herself. At this moment she had no intention of going to sleep, so she was casually flipping the pages of the book on the table, but did not seriously read it. One did not expect the Ding capital would be like this. One could not tell if the Lu Tan's tone of voice was of disappointment or joy. "I grew up in the Zhaochun city and thought that places outside would be the same as the Zhaochun city." One did not expect that the Ding capital is even bigger and livelier than what those storytellers said. "Be our youngest sister, I am still a little scared." There was finally a day where the out-of-control eldest young lady of the Lu family would be scared. Shen Miao smiled gently. "What is so scary?" "Of course one is scared when one is alone outside, even though older brother Ling is here, but this is not the familiar Zhaochun city." "Be our youngest sister, did you experience such scary times before?" "At the beginning when Gugu and Gufu were in the northwestern region and left you alone in the Ding capital, were you scared?" "There is nothing scary," Shen Miao lightly replied. To her it was not scary to be left behind in the Shen residence as at the beginning. In her eyes the people in the Shen residence were considered trusted relatives. Not knowing, thus fearless, like what Lu Tan spoke of, being afraid because of being alone outside. In the beginning when she was in the Qin country, was not it like that? Thinking of the Qin country, Shen Miao's eyes flashed and suddenly thought about the words that the waiter said today. The people of the Qin country and the Great Liang have come. At this time in her past lifetime, it was during the tribute that she saw the crown prince of the Qin country and the Great Liang's people. At that time the Great Liang's ambitions had slightly emerged, making the imperial family of Mingqi felt dreadful. In order to check and balance the Great Liang, the Mingqi and the Qin country probed with one another until when Fu Ziyu sat on the throne, the Mingqi and the Qin country started an alliance and let her, the empress, to go to the Qin country as a hostage. The crown prince of the Qin country, Huang Fuhao, was a very violent savage person. One did not know why, but he liked to go against her. And also Princess Ming'an was so arrogant that it was scary. The difficult and humiliating days in the Qin country were all thanks to this pair of siblings. As for Prince Ru of the Great Liang, Shen Miao frowned. In the original tribute of Mingqi, the envoy that the Great Liang sent over in the past, it was not this Prince Ru, it was another imperial relative. But the reputation of Prince Rui was already spread far wide. He was the younger blood brother of Emperor Yongle, but would not appear much in the imperial family, and also the outside world was ignorant of him. Shen Miao was Mingqi's empress in her previous life, and she knew very little of this Prince Ruiz Fu Ziyu had not mentioned about this person before. At the end, there were some things that changed. Lu Tan did not notice that Shen Miao was lost in her thoughts and spoke what she wanted. At first I still thought that if I ever make a trip to the Ding capital in my remaining life, one would definitely pay an official visit to Mingqi's Marquis of Linen's residence's Z family's little Marquis Z. One had never thought that now that one is here I will not be able to meet him anymore. Speaking till here, she actually became somewhat sad. Why could he not wait till I came to see? Shen Miao was slightly surprised for a moment. In these 2 years the rarely thought of figure gradually became clear in her mind. Upon finding a residence in the Ding capital, the previous servants in the original residence spoke about the events within the 2 years. One of the major events was in the residence of the Marquis of Linen. Ever since Zi Jingxing's death, the Zi family's army's vitality was greatly damaged, and Ziding got 10 years older in a night. Ziding initially gave his resignation to Emperor Wenhua, but to no avail. Emperor Wenhua did not allow it. Even though Ziding still retained his official position, he had no will to fight and would often drift along the days muddle-headed. However, his 2 Shu sons entered officialdom, and even though their positions were not high, they had good reviews, and within a couple more of years, they would be able to become the leaders of the younger generation in Mingqi. On the contrary to what one might expect, when the news of Zi Jingxing's death returned to the Ding capital, Princess Rongzin took a trip to the residence of the Marquis of Linen and made trouble. She scolded Ziding as ruthless, that he made the perfectly fine Marquis's residence lose Princess Yu Qing and also Zi Jingxing, and was a devil's nest that eats people. Princess Rongzin cried as she vented her anger, and almost smashed the entire residence of the Marquis of Linen. After that, she lived an even more secluded life, and no longer came out. The Su family that had good relations with the residents of the Marquis of Linen also gradually declined. Not mentioning Su Yu, even that family's son, who had bright prospects, gradually quietened down. In general, the Zi families declined along with Zi Jingxing's death, and the commoners could not help but mention it with regrets. Distinguished and accomplished youth that was unyielding and valiant, should have been a hero in the battlefield, but at the end, he died so tragically. It was of no wonder that when the young ladies of Mingqi heard about the news of Zi Jingxing's death, they could not help but cry to themselves. As Shen Miao watched the jumping flames, her eyes dropped, and when she turned, she saw that Lu Tan had fell onto the couch, fast asleep. Meanwhile, Lu Zuyan used the brush to comb her hair out. Even though she was the mother of 2 children, her hair was still dark and shiny, without a single strand of white hair, and could even contend with 28 young females. Shinzin took off his heavy armor and heard Lu Zuyan speaking, "With regards to entering the palace tomorrow, my heart kept sinking. What is there to be afraid of?" Shinzin walked behind her and held her shoulders before soothingly saying, "It is not our first time entering the palace. Could it be that you are afraid of the music? Do not be afraid, there is still me there." "I am not afraid of this." Lu Zuyan rolled her eyes at him. "You and me are very well aware about the matter of our return. Those persons in the palace most likely have a lump in their hearts. When I previously discussed with Father about the matter, Father said that one fear that His Majesty would take hold of something to control our Shen family." Shinzin frowned. What is the meaning of Furin's words? Zhao Zhao and Kaiyu are still not married yet. Lu Zuyan reminded, it would have been better if both of them got married during the 2 years in the Zhaochun city, and so one major thing would be settled. But one did not expect that the Emperor's edict would come so quickly. Now that our Shen family once again regained power, one fear that there are a number of people that are watching closely. Will the Emperor use Kaiyu's and Zhao Zhao's marriage as a topic to control the Shen family? Shinzin jumped in shock. How can it be? Nonsense. No matter what the case in Shinzin's eyes, Shen Kaiyu's and Shen Miao's marriages are not allowed to be mixed in political selfishness, let alone using their marriage to control the Shen family or integrate to other forces. Not mentioning Kaiyu's, I felt that Zhao Zhao's cannot wait for too long. Lu Zuyin said, Zhao Zhao is currently 16, Do not talk about the Zhaochun city. We are in the Ding capital and she is at the age where engagements are discussed. After engagement for 2 years when one is 18, it would be ideal to get married. One have to settle Zhao when there is still no news from the palace. Such a rush? Shinzin hesitated. What kind of good families is there? Not to mention the need to understand the other's character. Lu Zuyan hesitated. What do you think? Lu Zuyan looked at him. Of Ling